right, guys. Welcome back to episode 3 of Is It Still Scary? I am Brian Ferenzi, your co-host, along with Maria Del Carmen. We're joined by Bing.
Wait, is it
Andy,
really
and Matt.
episode 3?
Yes, it's episode 3.
I swear we're on 5.
We totally didn't film any more.
We're bumping this up because...
Oh, we're in episode 3.
We're bumping it up because Wes Craven, sadly, has recently passed away. He is a horror maestro, a master of horror.
Don't
I
laugh.
thought you were going to say he was a horrible human being.
He was a horrible person, and this whole episode is going to be
Is
slagging him
he
off.
still scary?
Yeah.
Arguably, you have to be in touch with something a little horrible.
Yeah. Well, he had apparently like a childhood where it was very, very strict, very religious parents who didn't let him see any movies.
That explains so much.
Well, he dreamt
Oh my
about Freddy,
gosh.
didn't he? Something about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, he was allowed to see Disney movies. That's what he was allowed to watch. He was allowed to watch like Mickey Mouse cartoons.
I
and
had a
stuff.
friend
Yeah.
whose family was so religious they weren't even allowed to watch Disney films because
What?
it was too much magic and evil.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell
images
did
coming
they
to life
watch?
as
Yeah.
Satan.
Just white noise.
That's
I
a really
don't know
deprived
what they
childhood.
watched. Well,
They-
they obviously watched them, just not at their mum's house.
Yeah. No. But anyway, so he recently passed away, and so I thought this podcast is the perfect opportunity to go back and take a look at some of his movies. We're starting this episode with A Nightmare on Elm Street, which in 1984 basically saved New Line Cinema. They were on death's door, and then they sunk all their money into this one last shot, which, for my money, is one of the greatest premises in horror cinema. And it gave birth to Freddy Krueger, one of cinema's most lasting slasher villains. He's kind of an icon now. Even if you haven't seen any of the movies, you can name him
Yeah.
if you see him. So he's kind of like Michael Jackson that way.
I think the premise is fantastic.
He's Michael Jackson with the one glove and everything.
Oh yeah.
Touching kids.
yeah.
Wait, hang on.
My favorite band, Ruben, have a song named
Yeah.
after him.
Really?
Named for Freddy Krueger.
Oh.
It was one of their most popular singles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's good. It has the line, "He has a hand like a knife rack, and he dies in every film."
Yeah,
It's good.
he basically does.
Yeah.
He dies and comes back. Although
That wasn't the original plan.
No, that wasn't. That was not the original plan. But that's what you do with slasher movies. You just keep bringing the slasher back again and again and again and again until you exhaust their
And
usefulness.
it's never predictable.
But
No.
I'm surprised, unlike most slasher flicks, what happens usually is that they get a bit, tougher and everything. Like, I'm surprised he didn't come back with a second glove.
Yeah.
And then the third one, he'd come back with one on his head.
Well, in the sixth one, he
just
has
looks
a
the
power
same.
glove. Do you ever see that one?
What?
No, wait,
Freddy's
no,
dead.
is that the one where is that the one where he raps? I've tried to avoid
Yeah,
that
the-
one.
Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare
I
has
went to.
because the thing was like as the Freddy movies got more and more money for their budgets,
They were
started
more about Freddy.
having more lavish death scenes, which even though they're not scary, it's still like fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's like one of those few film series where it's like I'm not scared, but I like watching these because the art direction is just out of control. Like
Yeah.
people are having a
Yeah.
great time making all these kills and sets. And
Absolutely.
That's
stuff.
what we kept saying yesterday. Like, this isn't terrifying, but it's really impressive.
It's really
Yeah, it's just like they worked on
Yeah.
this. Like it's fun. There's the real love for the craft in those movies. But so anyway, this kid who loves video games, therefore Freddy will kill him with video games, falls asleep, and Freddy like puts him into the TV and then has a power glove, which was a big deal at the time. It was like late 80s.
What is a power
This
glove?
is a real thing.
Like
Oh.
it was a controller that
Nintendo Entertainment System. You could like use it to play the game.
Oh, okay.
And so Freddy is
Oh.
like using the power glove to try and beat up the kid in the video game.
Did you get a little wink to camera going, now you're playing with power?
He said, that's exactly what
Oh
he
my
does.
God.
He goes, "No, I'm playing with power." As
That's
he like,
product placement.
it's really just straight up
Classic.
product placement.
I didn't even realize it went to 6. I thought it went up like to 5.
No, it actually goes up to 7.
Oh god.
What?
Actually 8 if you count
I'm
Freddy
so-
versus Jason.
I
Oh my
thing is I
God,
do count that.
yeah.
I think that's great. I think it's a great film because it is stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, are we talking about the first one now? Because we probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't... 'cause, look, I've not watched any of the other ones.
You could
Yeah.
probably apply this to all of them. But I
Yeah.
remember like the thing about Nightmare on Elm Street, which makes it such an ingenious idea, is that we all have nightmares.
Yeah.
So you're plugged in that way.
Yeah.
The only thing is that eventually you have to cycle it all around some villain. You can't just make it just be your nightmares in general or killing you. It has to be some guy, right? Some slasher villain.
Yeah.
And so for me, where it starts to fall apart is I just don't find Freddy Krueger that scary.
No,
He seems like a big.
he's really funny.
He seems like a big pileup of
Knowing
things that you
about-
Yeah.
think should be scary.
Knowing
If-
about Wes Craven though, I see where he's come from because he's very like childlike. He's like a cartoon character. He's like a kind of distortion of all those things he would have grown up watching.
Yeah.
plus the killing the unclean.
Oh.
It's very like the one who has sex dies first. It's very
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's a cartoon character who kills people who are unchristian.
He was meant to be a child molester and not a killer, and
Yeah.
then they
Damn it, you
changed
stole my... I was trying to get in and everyone kept interrupting me.
Wait,
I was trying
as
to
in-
get in on
as
that.
in- hang
Which
on,
is why
so
they did it, but they
instead
thought it
of
was
killing
too
them,
much.
molesting
He
them.
was meant to be a child molester instead.
What I mean, so he was a molester when he died.
Like,
Before he
so the
died.
parents kill him because he was molesting loads of
Yeah.
children.
Which is why
Yeah.
they have it in
But
the
then
new
once
version.
he's dead,
which-
you're saying that he
which
would
is
just
awful.
molest
No,
people.
but what in the original script?
in the original script, he
'cause
was
in the-
that's why there's all that scenes like with the hand coming up from the water. It's because
Oh,
he
yeah,
was,
that was really creepy.
Yeah.
that's because he was a child molester,
Yeah,
and not a
he's-
killer.
They work it in like
Yeah.
thematically. Like that's what Wes Craven wanted. Like they work it in thematically that he's like there are really creepy, perverted undertones, and
Yeah.
he goes like, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy," and he like.
But
looks
then-
at her
and then the
with
tongue
That was
comes
so
out.
funny.
Yeah.
Freddy lives in her
Ew.
vagina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Freddy's just popping it. Like he's a sexual predator, but they just couldn't come out and say it. Whereas in the
Oh, the
remake,
bit in the bath as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well-
remake is they make it very explicit.
Which is
Freddy
why,
touches
like,
kids.
He apparently managed to kill 20 kids because actually he molested 20 kids, and then all the parents got together and just murdered him.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, using those kind of... It wouldn't get very far. They'd die pretty soon.
That's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, in Freddy's
Oh, you're gross.
in part three they start to like dive into what makes Freddy Freddy, and he has a pretty amazing birth, which is his mom got trapped in an insane asylum and was raped by 100 maniacs.
Oh,
So
Wait,
he's
where'd you get this backstory from?
this is explained in part 3. So he's
Okay.
the bastard son of
Which
100
none
maniacs.
of us have seen.
Yeah.
Which
It's
Except
like,
at this
you.
point,
Yeah.
at this point with the first one, let's be real, they wouldn't have had any of this written down.
no, they
This
wouldn't.
would not be part of the
No,
Bible
they
at
wouldn't.
all.
They wouldn't go there
See,
because
that is
it's
actually-
like is he scarier if you don't know much about him?
Exactly.
And then that is just again, it feels like it's over the top. It's like, how about 100 of them? Like that's just like. It's
So
just
what?
So,
The mother got raped by 100 different people, and apparently he is the product of.
He's the bastard son of 100 maniacs.
Well,
which is a cool
okay,
line,
well-
but it's still like way over the top.
Can we talk
That's
about the,
impossible. Scientifically impossible.
Can we talk about
Or
the
is
dream
it?
logic
Yeah.
a little?
Well, that's that. I think another thing. That's why this premise is so good.
Yeah.
You can write everything off with just dream logic. Like, why is everyone so slow when they're running?
Yeah.
Why are they so slow?
Yeah.
So they just
Yeah,
and they run like this.
yeah.
The thing is then they run in real life, and it's not much better.
Oh, when she pulls him out and then they're in the real world.
And
But-
then it was.
But even then, it's like the movie is screwing around with the rules. It presents rules and then breaks them, which it shouldn't
Yeah.
really do. But it does it anyway, and it works because it's a dream. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, now eventually, what makes it so good is you don't know whether you're in a dream or not.
Yeah,
At a
by the
certain point, it
second
starts-
half of the movie, it's
Yeah,
just
anytime you
complete
see the
blur.
fog, you go, well, okay, this is a dream. And plus, who's not tried at one time or another going, oh, this is a dream. If I hold this really hard.
Yeah,
And I wake up and I go, oh, it's not there.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
She pulls out his hat. And
I've
stuff.
done that a few times with like lottery
Yeah.
tickets going, I'll hide it in my shoe.
She
and it's
kind
not
of
there.
pulls it out as well. It's just kind of like,
Whoa!
where did it come from?
Her vagina.
yeah.
Exactly. He's in her vagina. That's
Ew.
all the time.
That's the big plot
Yeah.
twist.
Yeah.
No, there's a definite effort been made to screw with dimensions and space
Yeah.
and time
Yeah.
in the way that dreams work, where you can run down a road that you know and then turn onto something that
Yeah.
not connected to that. In
Yeah,
the real
when they go
world.
downstairs in the basement
the
and stuff.
dream, the part that comes to mind the most is when she's dreaming that she sees the friend that's in prison,
Yeah.
and the way that eye line wouldn't exist.
Right.
The fact that it's that close to her house wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
As very accurately depicting the way that things feel.
Yeah.
In dreams,
move in
yeah.
dreams.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's
then-
also creating this, again, with the making rules and breaking them over and over, it's now assuming that everyone has this shared space. That's odd. There he goes. For this one scene, everyone is able to share the same dreams if they're slightly
They
thinking
do
about
it
Freddy.
twice.
Yeah.
They do it at the end, and then they do it when Johnny Depp. I can't remember his film name.
Glenn.
Glenn.
It is Glenn.
Glenn Depp.
What a great name for Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Glenn.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was him. I watched the whole time thinking, this is from
We
certain
both did.
angles.
Yeah.
From certain angles, he looks like a.
Wait, did you only
young
find
guy.
out the end?
And then at the end,
We saw the credits. We were like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whereas Brian told me from the very beginning, and I was like, "Is that Johnny Depp?" Brian says it is, but it
Well,
doesn't look like it.
I don't go on my phone during a movie because I'm a good person, so I didn't search IMDb or anything.
we just waited. The
I
credits
just
will
waited.
happen.
I was happy with the mystery.
Yeah.
That was the,
The mystery
overarching
of Johnny
mystery
Depp.
of the movie.
That was the whole thing.
Not
That
who
was
is
the
Freddy
main
Krueger,
thing, yeah.
not how are they going to
Yeah.
solve it is, like, is this Johnny
And that's
Depp?
supposed to be his first movie debut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was in 21 Jump Street at the time, and
That was a TV show.
that was a TV show.
Yeah.
That was his feature film debut. And what a way to go out, too. That's the best
Oh my
kill in
God.
the
Well,
whole
that's,
movie.
Yeah.
that's the most memorable film. Sorry, not memorable film kill. I was going to say the most memorable kill in the film.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
Easily.
Definitely.
Oh, I like Tina's is pretty cool too. When she gets she's spinning around and she gets slashed up.
That
And
just looks really cool. I was
Oh,
saying
yeah.
to that, I was
Yeah.
like, I know how
Yeah.
they've done it,
Yeah.
and it's incredible.
No, wait. So is that the one where she goes up in the ceiling?
They're on a
Yes,
rotating-
the film, the actual
Yeah.
room is upside down.
And it's rotating
Oh.
as well, so she can slide on the wall.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
then-
Inception
I wondered how.
kind of.
Yeah.
And-
Quite
But-
cleverly, the sheets, he pulls the sheets away, and quite cleverly, you don't see them anymore, because otherwise they just go...
yeah. They would just shoot up. Everything that would just fly to the ceiling just needs to be
Everything's bolted,
down.
yeah.
Well, a similar thing happens with the Johnny Depp scene. Like
yeah.
you see the when the blood comes shooting up.
Yeah.
You see the lampshade floating.
Yeah.
like clearly being pushed up.
Well, that's the cool part to me is all the blood shoots up and you're like, okay, well this is you know how they did it.
Yeah.
But then I just love that it must have been an accident, but just the way the last shot is the blood starting to go a different way.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
now we're going to the
It's
left.
amazing how they do it.
Yeah, it's just you know that's the room just rotating.
I just
but
find
it's
it-
so effective, and then the
it's-
mom's watching it all.
It's so odd that the mother during seems to be not as bothered as she should be. To the dad after he sees the blood dripping down and everything like that, and after seeing his son is equally not really as bothered as he
But
should.
all
as
the
should be.
adults are like that.
Yeah,
And then
the
all of them
adults
are
are
like,
broken. Lost.
and all of them
Yeah.
are there's no body. It's all blood. Because why are you even taking a stretcher in? And I know
that's-
they do
That's
even
what
say
I said.
they do even say he goes, you're not going to need a stretcher. You'll need a mop. It's like, well, come on, that's kind
I
of
feel
true.
like-
Yeah.
I feel
Don't
like
bother.
Part of that may be that it is of its time and it was hurriedly made and it's a bit cheap, but also it is in line with the theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
The vacuum cleaner
The
just
whole idea is it's loss of innocence.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids are the clever ones, and the adults are all lost in their own worlds of pain.
Fog. The
right?
mom is an alcoholic.
Yeah,
all
they
this
all
stuff.
have their own issues.
The dad's an
that-
asshole.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's obsessed with sex, and then he
The dad
dies
has,
with a big,
no
big bloody
feelings.
hole.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
stops the adults are stopped from they're held back from actively participating in what's going on by all
God,
the
the
stuff.
Yeah.
that
police officer
have
at
in
the
their own
end.
lives.
Just does my head in. It's like, it's fine, everything's good, it's fine. He's like,
Yeah.
maybe I should get her
Yeah, I
dad.
know.
Oh, the dad says.
He's a murderer.
The
He's
dad
killed like
says,
3
you know,
people.
help out my daughter if you see anything funny going on. She's breaking the fucking windows of the house,
Yeah.
and he's still like, oh well, I'm outside. I don't know whether I should call
everything's
the dad or
fine.
not.
It's basically
Officer
the
Gilmore.
adults are numb and sad,
Yeah.
and nothing is
yeah,
shocking.
he does
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, that is a pet theme of Wes Craven. He definitely
Police
does
officers
do,
are morons.
Like,
That is a theme of Wes Craven. The police officers do
the
nothing
police
and they're
are
morons.
Well, that's a theme of horror movies in general. Let's
Yeah.
be perfectly
Because
fair.
if the police did their jobs in a horror movie, it wouldn't.
No, there's a few horror
Yeah.
films where the police officers are on it, they know what they're doing, and as a result, they get killed.
yeah.
Yeah. So they
That's-
can't win.
No,
I mean,
if they're successful, they get killed.
Yeah.
it's weird to see thematically how Nightmare on Elm Street sort of walks the line between, the typical slasher movie punishing kids for having sex or doing drugs versus the fact that it's not really all their fault. They're inheriting the sins of their parents.
Yeah.
He sort of played it even-handedly, whereas Friday the 13th is all these kids were screwing and drinking while Jason drowned, so they should all die. That.
I've never seen that, but that sounds like a really good bluff.
That's the theme of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It's very patriarchal, very Reagan 80s. Whereas Nightmare on Elm Street is a little bit
Plus, they were all communists.
baby boomers are shitheads too.
Yeah.
It plays it more even-handedly.
Yeah.
But there is still, of course, you have the virginal innocent Nancy.
The parents are just so awful in that film. They're so caricatures of themselves.
the
The
mom.
mother with the drink it's like she's on stage going like
Fantastic
this.
bad
Like,
turn.
it's
She's
not
always
Oh,
doing
her
this.
tan.
Her movements
Oh my
is
God.
always like this. She's always moving her head and
Yeah.
kind of like this.
She's a bad actress.
But
so bad.
but what's weird is that it's when they play the way she plays it, the way she's acting.
She's kind of vacant.
She's so vacant. You're like, are we in a dream right now? Just looking at her face, I'm like, no.
Are
one
we in
acts
her
like
Yeah.
this.
dream.
Are we in a
Is-
dream?
Is
Yeah.
it her dream the entire time?
It's so difficult sometimes with these kind of films to know whether that was an intentional stylistic choice
Yeah.
or whether it is just terrible.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is intentional.
Yeah.
In the
Really
term that
difficult.
they had such a low budget for it, they couldn't afford a good actress.
But that
No, because they didn't use big actors then
Yeah, no, they
for
didn't.
horror films. They
Prob-
were seen as quick buck movies.
Yeah, that would do well anyway because people come out to see the gore. But it's
Yeah.
like the biggest star in that movie was probably John Saxon, the dad. Nancy's dad at the
At
time
the
was the
time.
biggest
Yeah.
star. Yeah, was the big star. But other than that, it was like, nobody.
An issue I have in general though is like, for even from Nancy, who's meant to be shocked at everything that's going on, like her mum goes, "I murdered a guy," and she goes, "Okay, mother, I understand."
Yeah. Her mom shows her the glove. She's like, I kept the glove. Like,
Yeah.
Why
the
did you
knife glove,
keep
I'm
it?
like, in a boiler, in like the.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
creepy.
Yeah.
Mom.
that is
That's
that's-
run away from
I'm
the
gonna
house from
leave
mum.
now.
Also, that's evidence. That's evidence to a murder you performed.
Yeah.
Why have you got that?
Your fingerprints are all over it
although
now.
Sorry,
at
how-
this time she's supposed to be like at that point in the movie she's supposed to be like
7 days
sleep
awake.
deprived or
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
So, but
That's when
the
you do start
problem
going
is
loopy.
these things that we kind of can rationalize after the fact are
Yeah.
not presented properly
Yeah.
in the film, properly enough that we think, oh, she's not thinking right in the
There's
when we're
also
watching it.
something that I'm aware of in terms of being sleep deprived. That she just sets an alarm and everything. When you're sleep deprived for that long period of time, once you're under after that much amount of time, it's really fucking hard.
Yeah,
to
your
get
body is dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to get you awake again. So
How
by
many-
that point, you wouldn't be able to wake her up again for like a full day.
Yeah.
How
you
many
can go
days is it
11.
supposed to be?
11 without die, and then usually.
No,
die
she
between
mentions
11
11's
and
the
32.
she mentions 11's the record. but
11's
she-
the record.
She gets to
11 is
about
the
she gets to,
record.
she says 7 and then she goes to about 8.
No, but people die between the average of 11 and 32, and you usually go crazy between 7 and 11.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
one of
she's
the-
crazy.
She's crazy, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, one of the additional things that made this film scary, in my opinion, is that there were all these stories of people, going to sleep and just dying randomly. Like it does happen to people. People just die in their sleep. Young people, old people, whatever. So there is that still thing. Is like, oh, maybe he had a nightmare and died in his sleep. So maybe and that kind of held a bit of weight.
And the old school, the whole thing that we still don't, science still doesn't really understand everything there is to know about dreaming and sleep and why
Yeah.
we need these things and why they happen and how they happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
don't know how dreams happen. We just know random
good.
neurons fire at a part of the brain, and we don't understand even why recurring dreams happen, because every time it's random. It's not the same thing. It's a different pattern. So they just don't get it.
Yeah.
So you're tapping into a primal fear that it's not, it's just a little dude. It's a
Yeah,
guy.
I've had
doing
dreams
it.
where I'm thinking of something specifically throughout the day, and I've ended up having that dream. Or I've had dreams where I haven't thought of someone in years, and they go, "Oh, hey, Jesus Christ, how are you?"
yeah.
Like, I haven't thought of you in years. It's like, oh, okay.
Why are you dreaming
really
about
odd.
them then?
No, that's what was odd. It's like people that I didn't even know that well. It's just odd.
I had a dream
So
last
that's-
night where Bing was was surprised and in respect of guinea pigs really tightly compacted in a cage.
Yeah, it was-
How many?
some kind
How many
of-
and how big
We're
was the
talking
cage?
like so
Carnival.
pat they're like right. But you had a respect for it like an art piece, but you just didn't understand why it was happening.
I tend to have really boring dreams.
They do move in.
My Freddy movie would be like, I'm dreaming and I see on the side of a bus that I've missed the dates to see the movie that I was excited about seeing, and I'm like, no! And Freddy's like, ha ha! Ah, you missed it! And I
Everyone
wake
else
up,
has seen it already.
and you forgot to clean your teeth! Ah.
The toothpaste is dry.
There's so
You
many
left the lid
dreams.
off.
There's so many dreams where they go, right? Oh, I did all this weird thing. I went to Mars and I fought an army and I rode a horse into the sun. And he goes, well, that means you probably
Watched John Carter and fell asleep.
Then it just well, no, it's just saying, oh, you're probably scared about the test you've got tomorrow. And if you have a really boring dream, then it's got to mean you're really fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the exact opposite.
Oh,
I
God.
I went to the shop and bought some milk.
Thanks.
That's
Oh
his
my
dreams.
god, get away from me!
I'm the one that has the crazy dreams in the house, like the really mad ones, and then you have had the odd
I've
crazy
had a
one
few.
recently.
I've had a few crazy
He
dreams.
saw my
Maybe
future
I'm
kid.
Do you
learning
do you
now.
wake up shouting? I do.
No, no.
Oh God. Do you
She
wanna
does.
do you
Oh,
wanna
is this a-
say
I do
about
have
my
one
dream,
recurring
Brian?
nightmare.
Maria has lots of scary dreams, and she's like, no, no. She like screams like really loudly in them.
Oh wow.
It's kind of terrifying.
Sounds
I
awful.
had a dream like about, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago where I literally screamed to the top of my lungs. I woke myself up because I went, Mom! Like really, really loud. And Brian came rushing in, like, oh my God, did you have a dream? Obviously about your mother dying or something. And then, what was it? It was something
It was
so
dumb.
stupid.
It was the dumbest, least stakes involved thing. Didn't even have to do with your involved thing.
No,
You-
which
Yeah, I
shoes
think
to
my
wear,
mum
and
was
the
just-
prom's tomorrow.
Yeah, your mom was like annoying you, and so
But I
that led
screamed
to this
to the top of my
blood-curdling
lungs.
scream. It was unbelievable. All my dreams, I'm like, I'm back in school or I'm on stage for a play and I don't know any of the lines.
Yeah.
And like the curtains open. And it was
Oh.
like,
a classic.
"Ba-da-da." I had one dream where I was like playing drums for one of my favorite bands against me, and I'm like kicking the drums, and I'm like, I'm not really that good a drummer in the first place, but I'm like, here we go, all right, I know the song, and like every kick I do, the kick drum was like, boop, 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 like it's
that's a
moving
real
away,
problem.
it's moving away. I'm like, shit, and I'm like hitting the snare, and the snare's like, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, ugh. It's like failing. It's like everything's moving away from me.
That's a legit problem that
It is a
all
problem.
drummers have.
That-
Is the bass drum not being. That's
Yeah,
like.
it's gotta
I'm
be-
sure I've dreamt of that.
Yeah, and so, but the whole drum kit's moving away, and I'm just like scooching forward, and my friends, sensing how embarrassed and bad I am, like they all just crowd around me, like they're blocking me from the crowd, and they're like, "So where do you want to go after this?" And they're just like, "Well, I could go to McDonald's or something." I'm just like trying to play the drums. That was my dream. Is just
That's incredible.
I have a legitimately terrifying dream, which is recurring, because
You're gonna die.
Well, no. Since I moved, it's vastly improved. That wasn't meant to rhyme. I live under a flight path, and in the summer it gets really hot, so I have to have the window open. And because it's right under the flight path, the planes start like 6 a.m. They're really loud. So in my dreams, and it's so bright in the morning in the summer, it's combined with it shining directly on my face, being incredibly bright, and the incredible roaring sound. In my dreams, a nuclear bomb has gone off, and I can't go anywhere, and I can see it because it's right next to me. I can't run anywhere,
You're
and I
dead.
start screaming, and I'm terrified. And I wake up, and I don't just wake up like oh fuck. I wake up like screaming, and I fall out of bed, and I've done this maybe about 20, 30 times.
You live
and
next to a flight path, and your first thing was nuclear bomb, not like plane crashing. Into
no, it's no, because the sound of it isn't
It's
like,
a
it's the
roar.
rumbling roar. It's like it gets louder and louder and louder, and with the brightness as well on your face, it kind of.
Yeah, I can see that. I get a lot of nightmares. But like
Great.
a few years ago, I think the only faux pas I've had in bed, going back to your scream, was like this is so lame. I was playing a game of Monopoly and I dreamt that my dad had called me on something called a Twitter phone to ask me who had won. And I was like, I'll ask my friend. And I was like, what was the? I was like, Ryan. And my ex-boyfriend just heard me going, Ryan. And it was his housemate.
Oh my God.
So you had to explain that. To him.
Yeah, and he didn't believe me. And I was like, that's honestly what happened. I was asking him how Monopoly went.
Thing is, I'm still
Was he
on the
surprised
mode.
at how fast you made that up on the fly? He's like, wow, you have the Monopoly excuse ready to go.
Yeah.
No, I
Clearly
mean,
a fuck dream.
in my opinion, if it's in your dream, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Like someone's going to like, oh, I dreamt about so and so the other night. It's like, so? It's like,
Yeah.
aren't you
your
jealous?
brain.
Like, no, I don't care.
It's just your
You didn't
brain.
actually do it.
Yeah.
I've dreamt some crazy sex stuff.
That-
Do we want to know?
You stay out of my dreams.
Marina's just getting good.
Wait. Do we
No,
want to
I'm
know?
done.
Should we
You're
go back
done.
to the actual
Okay.
film?
Oh.
I mean, well, but in a way we kind of are, because Nightmare on Elm Street is it pretends it's about nightmares,
Yeah.
but the imagery that it plays with, it does borrow a few very specific things visually from dreams, which is locations blending together
Yeah.
and
Phones
things not
turning
making
into
Yeah.
sense.
things.
Phones turning into things,
Creepy
or
make-out tongues.
not being able to move fast. That's a cliche, but I
Yeah.
do have that
Marshmallow
in my
stairs.
dreams.
Reality
Yeah,
and the
I'm
I'm
imaginary.
able to
just
jump higher
blurring.
than I am to move forward in most of my dreams. I can like jump, and if I float for a little bit and then land on the ground, but I can't move forward that fast.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3 is out now. If you haven't seen the movie we spent the last 3 years of our lives making, go to iTunes or to our own website at dudebropartymassacre3.com to download special editions of the film with bonus features, including behind-the-scenes footage, gag reels, and loads of 5-second films content. Our website also has info on upcoming screenings, so be sure to check it out and see if Dude Bro is playing in a theater near you. Thank you for supporting our channel and our film.
I think knives are still scary. I think that is one of the things is that the knife thing is still scary. That kind of the slow scratching, I think, in theory, is scary.
Well, it's
Right.
because it's personal, and you have to get up close and like stab people, which is why we like guns are quite well, they are the
Yeah.
coward's way. They're like,
But
I fire all my guns like that.
He was
I think
quite,
guns are
Get
scary.
he was quite disarming though, in terms of like the first time you saw him like in the street.
yeah.
He starts doing this like a little goblin thing.
Yeah.
Whereas
And-
was the
it would have been
funniest
thing.
scarier.
Like,
It
that
would have been
never happens
scarier.
again.
It would
Yeah.
have been scarier if he like put his arms slowly. Then they started stretching rather than already being really long
Well,
and just walking
Wicked,
slowly.
wacky,
I think you
wacky,
overestimate-
Slow walk is
Yeah.
scarier
You overestimate the amount
rather
of money
than
they
the
have.
little goblin hustle.
And
That
you can
was the
see where,
funniest thing.
You can see where like the arms are kind of like dipping too. They're just like shit, like they're just like rigging it. But you can know what they were going for, and like okay, in theory that's scary.
I like the
You know
little
what's
bit where he
weird?
pops
Robert
out the
Englund was
tree.
on Come Dine with me.
What?
Robert
And then-
England was on Come Dine with me last week.
Oh really?
And he greeted all his guests holding the Freddy glove and basically scared the shit out of everyone because everyone was still scared of Freddy as a kid.
Aww.
That stretchy arms scene just made me think of the John Cleese episode of The Muppet Show, where he has the sketch where he's stretching. Gonzo goes to
Oh,
him
yeah.
Oh my
back,
god!
I love that one.
Yeah.
and he stretches out his legs, and he
Yeah.
stretches out.
And his arm goes really short
His
in.
arm gets shrunk, and he pulls it back, and it pulls his leg up, and he pulls the leg, and it eventually just like flops on the table.
Yeah.
Like, pull yourself together.
Freddy's got little legs as he's walking. That'd be great. That'd be great. The scares that they try and throw at you that Freddy does, like the specific bits, are very rarely effective. I find
Yeah.
like when he cuts off his fingers and he's
Oh,
like, "Look
yeah.
at that,"
No,
and it's
it was
like,
just so-
No.
that whole opening sequence.
Yeah.
That was when it's like it.
It's because
that was
he's
when I just saw him as a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that whole
Freddy
opening with
himself-
the stretchy arms and popping out from behind the tree that he wasn't on the
Yeah.
other side of.
Yeah.
And chopping his fingers off like look at me, like he's a clown. He's a,
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
maggots.
But the
he's a
thing is,
cartoon.
Yeah,
with
the
that finger
maggots.
cutting off, kind of sums up the entire feel of the film for me, because he cuts his fingers off and he looks at them and he looks at them again, he looks at her as if he's waiting for a reaction,
Yeah.
and it kind of feels like the same way as like, are you scared yet? Is he
Yeah.
scary? Is he
The
scary
part
character?
I really liked
Which
is
makes
like
sense.
the
Yeah.
face coming through the fat.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah, the
cool.
face
I
coming
still
through
like
the
that.
Oh,
That's
oh my
really
gosh,
nice.
that was amazing.
all practical.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like
love
this
that
big
effect.
stretchy fabric that they lit from like a
Yeah.
certain angle.
Yeah.
The bit that really sells it from that scene, I think, is put it back on, knock knock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put the crucifix back, and she knocks the wall, and it's solid.
Yeah.
I like that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of sound design.
That was
See,
scary.
that was cool.
Yeah, every now and then they bring it together, or like in the hallway when it's like you see Tina in the body bag and the legs just raise up on their
Oh,
own. and
God,
get
yeah,
pulled
that
away.
was
I'm
so
like,
good.
That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
like every now and then they bring it together and they have like a
Or even
cool
when she
little
just shows
effect.
up and they're really like.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and or she's got like
See,
the
that's
snake
scary.
Half
slug
of it
things
is
at her
very
feet.
effective, I feel.
Yeah, it really vacillates. It kind
Yeah.
of just goes back and forth.
I feel like they had loads of people going, all right, but I really want to try this, and then the wacky wavy arms happen. They were like,
Let's do wacky wavy inflatable arm.
It feels to me like the equivalent of the shark. It keeps breaking. So what can we do to fix it?
Yeah, and only in this case they really did just keep trying to fix the shark rather than not show.
Yeah.
Like that. It's one of, and so as a result, it is very kind of herky jerky.
Yeah, so
when it scares you or when it doesn't.
So like the first half of the film, Freddy's hidden, a lot of it, and then suddenly you see loads of him, and then he's hidden again, and it's
his face peels.
you
a lot.
either
Like, they
show him
use that a
in
lot.
entirety after the point, or
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
It smacks of something that was kind of prepped and shot very quickly, which it was.
Yeah. I mean,
Like the scenes in the boiler room, the person on the camera is deliberately trying to conceal his face. Only we see scenes from that location at different points in the film, so it makes sense for him to be concealed at the beginning, but not at the end.
Yeah.
But they shot it all in the one day with the one kind of direction, and it just
Yeah, it feels that way.
or when he's set on fire. And it's clearly a much beefier stuff.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
The head
well,
gets like
in a big
This-
fire suit.
It was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
dangerous.
it's gotta be a
not
big fire
only was
suit.
he
there
on
is
fire,
there is actually one effective part of that is that they do a quick cut to her reacting to it, and then you cut back to him, and he's just turned to the stairs, and you can see the back of him, and it looks like him because from the back it's fine, but with the front you see the eye holes being dark and everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
clearly really beefy, but if they just shot him from the back reacting like that, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But then he's
Yeah.
strangling the woman on the bed, and it looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Or they're
the
going
mom.
into the bed.
Oh, and then like and her arm is a skeleton.
Yeah, when they pull the sheet off and mom is
She's
now
just like,
mom's now like falling into like
Bye.
a heavenly waterbed, just like
Yeah.
goodbye,
Yeah.
and like her skeleton's like "See you next Halloween."
And how is the dad just not going? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, and they're all
How is he
just
not
like,
sharing his
He has
mind?
no emotions.
None of the
Ever.
adults
Like,
do.
does he not think like either I'm going mad or what the hell's going on
I
here?
think John
And-
Saxon's just thinking about his career when he's looking at this super fake Halloween party store skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, goodbye, John Saxon. As it like goes to a little blue light, and he's just like.
I mean,
"Fuck
would it have
my
been?
life."
You know what? It would have been better if it goes up.
Yeah, I mean,
Goodbye.
It did
and
for a
waves
bit,
a little.
though.
yeah,
It went.
it was like going up and like controlling the hydraulics.
Well, I mean, the way I saw that though, the logic is that Freddy found her sleeping and went back into the dream world via her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to piece
It's
together
still supposed to be a dream. Actually,
took her with
her.
Yeah. Is it time? Can we talk about the end?
the ending. Yeah,
The
may as
end.
well.
We
because-
didn't. Yeah, like.
because-
Is
and
that
and
still
now-
a dream then?
I think the end.
Might
is
as well
Yeah,
because
the
the
end
rest
is
of it's
totally still a
garbage.
dream.
Oh, the end is
then
definitely.
when
a
It's
dream.
oversaturated and bloomy.
And the mom's
When did
like,
she officially
Yeah.
go to
I
sleep?
love today.
But I think it's her dream.
Yeah.
I think it's the mum's dream.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna drink
Yeah.
anymore.
You think so? But I.
Oh.
Okay,
It's
so now
weird.
this is where it gets really crazy.
You
because it's
decide
like,
to just not drink.
Did
yeah.
she die in Nancy's in the real world,
Or is that her
did she
dying
die
dream?
in Nancy's dream? And then now we're looking at the mom's dream.
Wait, no, hang on, because Freddy is the car, right?
Freddy's a lot of things. Freddy's the car, and he's also the arm that pulls the mom in through the. I don't care how cheap that looks. I
How
love
about
it.
this?
She's just like,
Oh my god!
It's like,
that
yoink.
inflatable doll thing.
I was like, I remember
And then
freeze
it's
framing
over.
that and just being like, how did she?
How
did you get someone through that? And I'm
I
like,
just felt bad that that was one of the last shots of the movie.
I know. Well, now
How
to be,
did they do that?
To be perfectly fair, Wes Craven hated this ending.
Yeah.
Didn't want to shoot it. The studio forced him
Well,
to.
the
What was
original
gonna
ending
be
is
the
that
ending?
they
ending
beat
was-
Freddy.
Just
they beat
happy,
Freddy.
yeah.
The end. Walk away. We did it. We win. And the studio was like,
He's
"You
dead."
fucking kidding? We want sequels. Freddy lives. So
Yeah.
put in a thing where he comes back. And Wes Craven was like, fine. And he like shot it like, and he purposely did it like over the top.
I don't think he should have killed the mum then. I think the kids should have driven off and it could have been the mum's dream. And
Yeah.
the kids just drive off in the car and you know that something bad's going to happen to them in the Freddy thing. And then she's just like, I'm a
Yeah.
drunk.
Well, is it back to the shared dream logic?
That they all get to be in each other's
that
dreams.
they're
Yeah.
it's not that they're dead, is that their souls are still now stuck in the dream and forever to be tormented by Freddy.
Well, I mean, certainly in the case of Nancy, that's not true. She lives.
Yeah,
she makes
yeah.
it to part
Yeah.
3. But
I hate her.
felt
She's
very
such a bad
short-changed.
actress.
Yeah.
So
very, very short.
We were just
by
like-
the end of that film.
oh yeah, it's so disappointing.
It's just and the whole event.
I would have been happy if he died.
There
Honestly.
are-
And
Ray
then-
Freddy died.
But the thing is, if
I mean, he
if
does die, but it's like
I know, but if he died in the sense that you think he's beaten, you could have had it that it would have been he's
Yeah,
dead, and you still could have had him come back.
yeah, make us see. He's a dream goblin. He's like he's fine. He'll come back no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
You can. If it's a horror film, you can absolutely kill off your main villain and still have him come back.
Especially
Yeah.
if
It's
they're
just
magical.
the way it works.
And
It's
especially
like-
if they dip back into the dream world like you kind of saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really silly. If anything, you've got your marketing for the next film right there. It's just he's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be?
So why,
why
yeah.
shoot
So
this extra
stupid
thing?
studios.
Yeah, it was a studio. They're like, no, shoot this, and Wes Craven was like, fine.
But
Like,
it-
he got really
But
upset.
it is that same thing that he goes, oh, he has no power because of the dreams and all this other stuff. All you have to do is in the sequel is people start talking about him. That's all you have to do.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
pacing issues throughout the whole film, but particularly that last 5 minutes were just like.
What?
There's like she's fighting the on fire Freddy, and then
And she-
on fire Freddy is on the mom, and then suddenly the mom is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, skeleton shot.
Yeah.
And then it's like back to the people, and then outside, and then she's asleep, and then it's a dream, and then it's all colorful, and then they're in the car, and the car is Freddy for some reason, and
Yeah.
then she's like, whoop.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
Wes
Yeah.
Craven said, "Do you
Yeah.
want to bring him back? I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to do the dumbest ending I can think
Yeah.
of. You
Yeah.
ruined my
I
film."
really feel like that's what it was. Like him out of spite, being like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a Freddy car. Fuck you. Like,
Car door sucks her up. End of film. It's like,
Hang on.
yeah.
It does feel a little bit like we're kind of bad mouthing the film, like to the point that like there's nothing good we've been saying about it now.
No, but
there are some many
we
good
liked
features
the
about
bloody
it.
Johnny Depp stuff.
Yeah, that
And
was
I
amazing.
think a
Bloody
lot.
bed,
I think a
Tina's
lot of.
death.
I think a lot of the boiler room stuff is the strongest part of the film.
Well, I mean, and that's a very evocative setting that they get a lot of really great use out of too.
No one
Yeah.
knows what the sheep at the beginning was about, right? That was just there.
Wait, which stuff?
In terms of
There
the
is a
boiler room
sheep
as
at
well.
the beginning, just like she's running down a boiler room hallway, and then she just hears
Lamb
and
of the
it's a
Slaughter.
sheep.
Other than just,
Obvious.
just
I would imagine
Oh.
like a lamb. I mean,
Imagery.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lamb
Innocence.
slaughter.
he throws
Oh my
he
God.
throws some Christian stuff like Tina is posing like the Virgin Mary, I think, or something. I can't remember. Like,
Ooh,
there's a
yeah,
certain point
she is
where
in the-
Nancy sees like
Yeah, yeah, I
Tina
can
who's
see
dead,
it.
Yeah.
and she's got like these slug snake things at the bottom or whatever. Like he does throw some Christian stuff at you, and when she's like Tina's like, oh God, and he's like,
Millipede out of
"This
the
is
mouth."
God.
Yeah.
Like there is some Christian stuff,
Yeah.
But
which
it's
is
a
very.
mess.
It is.
Yeah,
it
they
is
hug
a
the
mess. It's
crosses
pretty
a lot
unfolk-
for teenagers
Yeah,
that
they
don't care much
thing is,
about
Both
their
Tina
religion.
and Nancy love their crucifixes.
I mean, they have the crucifix stuff, but he's also one in Freddy's bed, which is obviously is it Tina?
Tina, yeah.
Yeah, it's her crucifix in his bed. So it almost feels like it's nullified. Like the song is like, grab your crucifix and everything, Freddy's
Yeah.
coming for you, but it nullifies it in the sense that you go, well, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to do anything. Not going to help you.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
do anything.
it's almost kind of going, yes, there is a supernatural side of it, but the supernatural side does not mean that it's anything to do with God or the devil.
Right. I mean, they
They
that's
do
another
kind of elaborate
example.
that to other films, though.
Eventually they start
Demons and-
God by part 6 when they talk about like how Freddy came to be so powerful. It's just like it's the dumbest. It's
Oh,
the
God.
dumbest thing.
Is it like, do the films get worse?
I
Because
don't
like with
wanna
Saw,
know.
they
Yeah.
stay kind of consistent for the first three.
Well, I
And
will
then-
say I will
Saw
say
was
that
good in the first three, I feel.
Yeah, the first three are amazing.
They were. I will
That's
say
a different podcast. But
Yeah, sure. It is. I will say that all the Freddy movies are worth watching, and again, it's just because of those kills and the set design and the effects. It's all once you start pumping more money into it, Freddy did get less scary because he got even jokier. Like now Freddy
Too
starts
many
telling
puns.
jokes. Like
he
they-
always was.
Like I
It
said,
annoys
well-
me when
well,
does
Freddy
that.
was over when he started rapping for me, like I said.
well,
We haven't seen that, so
It-
we really don't.
No, but he's not just rapping. He's got like three other guys, like, and there's a big
it's
fat
not a
guy,
joke.
like down the stairs, like backing him up.
it's
That's the thing.
It's like the movies-
dressed like him.
But here's the thing: the movies realize, I think they must know on some level that they're not scary anymore, and they just start going for it with like Gonzo over the top imagery, and it works. Like there's a Roach Motel kill in I think part 4 or maybe 5 that's amazing. It's like this girl's like doing bench presses, and then all of a sudden her elbows just like rip, and she's like, and she's like she's in horrible pain. Her arms are, and then she like when she touches the ground, it's all sticky, and like her skin just sloughs off, and she's becoming a roach. And then like but it's so well done. And you watch, you're like, this is not scary, but
Impressive.
this is really cool. Like it's just cool kills.
That's like Final Fantasy, though. Not Final Fantasy. My God, that's a different thing.
Final
Final
Destination.
Destination.
Maybe that just needs to be its own little subsection. Cool kills. Top 10 cool kills.
Cool kills.
Not
Yeah.
scary.
But like
Yeah.
Final Destination, admittedly, actually isn't that scary, but it looks.
I don't like
cool.
watching
Yeah.
Final Destination
the
because
first one
there's
goes for it.
because it still has that. Actually, you know what? We're not going to get into it because it's entirely another
We've
thing.
done that a
It
couple
is.
of times,
Yeah,
like
but
different
we're not-
podcasts.
But I swear to God, I mean, you guys really should. They're fun, and especially part 2, which is super underrated because it is a super gay movie, but it's so good. It's so good. Clearly, the subtext of this movie is this boy is gay and is repressing it.
Yeah.
But the movie is about Freddy is trying to possess this boy and come out through him, and the boy's trying to keep Freddy locked in.
Is there a bit in the closet?
There's
there a
stuff in
little
here
closet?
where you'll watch it and you'll be like, of course, this movie is. I know what this movie's about.
Wes Craven had nothing to do with
No,
those
no,
ones,
he didn't.
no.
He had nothing to do with. He wrote a draft of the script for part 3, and
Yeah, I'm sure. I know he was involved in 3.
And then,
but he came back and wrote and directed 7, which is Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Okay.
Which was meta before Scream was meta. It was meta before Charlie Kaufman got his hands on
Yeah.
a laptop. This was like the original like over the top, self-reflexive, snake eating its own tail horror movie.
One of my favorite bits of trivia. They tweeted out, this cinema review company went, "What's your least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street?" And Wes Craven tweeted back, going, "The reboot."
Yes, the reboot. I love it.
Why did he not like it? Just-
Well, because it's
Come on, look at it.
I've heard it's
so
awful.
bad.
Why-
it's
is
so
it-
bad.
Have you seen it?
It's
like-
just bad in the way that all those fucking Platinum Dune remakes are
Like,
bad.
New
It's the
Psycho
kind of film
towards,
where you
like,
go, you know
yeah,
it's going to be
loses all
bad, but you
subtlety.
want to see how bad. It's that thing. It's that morbid
Not that-
curiosity. That's why you go
It's
see
just,
it.
it's just dank.
Is this the
and
2010
slow
one, right?
And jump scary. And
It's,
Yeah.
it's sooner than
boring.
that, I think.
Yeah, it was
It's
2011.
like- yeah.
Or something.
Oh.
Speaking of something scary about the original one, the music, the score was great. The score was
Yeah.
on point. It was
I
really
agree
good.
with
synth dude.
Parts of it.
Yeah,
Where it's-
there was.
kind of
Yeah,
little build
There
up.
were other scenes where they're in horrible mortal danger, and it sounds like an 80s rave.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
in a
yeah, there are
disco.
two.
That was like when
It's
she
like,
had
I would just listen to that for fun.
yeah. The Home Alone
But they're
sequence. She's
dying.
got like the booby
Yeah.
traps and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like she goes, Dad, will you be
That's
here
quite
in 20
elaborate
minutes?
to do in, like, 10
will you
minutes.
Be here in
I know.
20 minutes?
Exactly.
And then does the whole thing, which would definitely take like an hour.
And-
I
hour
don't know.
top, like, within a-
I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but you know, like doing shotgun shells and everything. Though you have to do this pretty carefully. You
Yeah.
couldn't just do them
The
like.
light bulb bombs. Yeah. Doesn't even work that well on Freddy too.
And when
It
did
misses
she
him.
learn this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're nitpicking.
I mean-
Well, Johnny Depp like she's had some books. She bought some books about home security and
Yeah.
and one about Balinese dreaming theory or
Let,
whatever.
us
like,
face
so
it.
she
It would have been
was-
more effective if she just got got the shotgun and used it.
just blew him away.
Go all
it's like-
America on his
Yeah,
ass.
exactly. That's how
Where
you
is
do
the
it.
shotgun? Is there a shotgun?
She should have just.
Well,
gotten
she
it.
has shells.
It's America.
Where
it's
does she
easy
get the
enough.
shells? There's
Yeah.
clearly a gun that goes with the shells.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we should go around the table and
Say.
and do a final verdict. We'll start with Bing.
I don't believe it is still scary, if it ever was, but it is definitely worth watching for the impressive kills.
Yes.
I think that's probably going to be a general consensus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I was scared at all
Right.
throughout any of this film. I don't think I cared about the characters. I don't think I cared about the actual danger. I just was intrigued by the premise, how they were going to explore that, and what they did with the practical effects and the design.
Yeah.
If you were scared by that, like I'm a wuss. I'm an actual wuss. So
With a knife phobia.
with a knife phobia, and I was kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
like it wasn't that scary. So I'm not sure if I can even say it's still scary.
Yeah. Was it?
Was
ever?
it ever
Was it ever
scary?
scary?
Yeah.
But yeah, Johnny Depp's death and
Tina's.
Tina's.
Yeah, when she's spinning around.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
But I'm sure you can just YouTube those clips.
Yeah.
The Fonz got shafted with his death scene. It's just
Yeah. They didn't
Yeah.
even explore that. Like, did
Yeah,
he kill
Rod-
himself?
Rod just gets he gets like the
They
little,
went. They didn't even explore at all. Like, oh, he probably killed himself because he killed everyone. They
Yeah.
just kind of went, yeah, he's dead.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
mean, it's
it's weird that he basically
That was a-
tries
that
to
was a
get himself
dry
off by
day.
making it look like he killed himself.
Yeah.
That is an odd bit.
How did you know, Nancy?
I don't know. Can we go to the next scene? Or we go...
Yeah, we've only got like 2 more days.
Yeah, Wes is like, we don't have time. We don't have time. Come on.
the dad's there, just like, just like looking at his watch and thinking.
Look, I
Thinking
know you're
about his
sad and
career
everything. Your
going
friend died
down.
and everything, but you're not allowed to be sad because why were you there in the first place?
considering
you
what's
stupid
happened.
daughter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Um,
bad
yeah.
father.
I don't think it was scary, but I did find it really fascinating just from an artistic point of view.
Yeah.
It was interesting to watch, and the entire time I was just like, oh, how did they do that? That looks really cool. Because, everything's just practical effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I was really into it.
Yeah.
But just from story, plot, and scariness,
Yeah.
no effect really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is a certain part of watching films. At some point, the more heavily involved you are in making films and things like that, you start being. You find it difficult to actually attach to the films and
Yeah.
disassociate yourself and go, oh, that's how they did that. I couldn't engage with it in that sense. I was literally just watching it for practical reasons, going, oh, that's how they did this. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But at no point did I kind of feel it was scary. The one thing I do feel is that the premise is scary. The premise, the idea is
yeah.
scary. Like
Yeah.
there's no reason I'm not going to go to sleep afterwards and go, I could easily have a nightmare about Freddy Krueger. Like
So the writing's
premise.
bad. Is what we're saying.
No, I'm just saying the
Aw.
premise. The premise was there. The execution for me was, no pun intended, not scary.
We need to be able to wheel in a small child at the end of these.
This is
podcasts.
also
Yeah.
what I think as
Yeah.
well. I
Like,
think we need
have
to
a
get the
resident
opinion.
9-year-old.
Oh,
Bing,
God,
can I
that
have
poor
one
kid.
project where you don't suggest wheeling in a small child? Must we always indulge your whims?
What kid were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that poor kid. We're gonna ruin you. Please don't go around killing people
for
in
sci-
about
it's for
10
art.
years.
Yeah, and just show them the movie fresh
Yeah.
and just see what they think. I mean, I think it's a rocket fire premise. That's one of that is for my money one of the best premises in a horror movie ever because it's instantly relatable. and it instantly patches over any logic holes you might have
Because we
in
don't
the
know
movie because
why it
it might be
happens.
dream logic, and then it obviously opens itself up to tons of sequels and being as inventive and crazy as you like. It's just a problem that eventually, I think, bolstered by how amazing that premise is, they just start using a sledgehammer touch for everything. And you've got like the fingers chopped off, and Freddy popping out behind a tree, and Freddy doing all these goofus things.
He almost
Yeah.
starts off.
He
He
makes
almost
out with your
starts off
phone.
too sideshow almost to begin with.
Yeah,
It's too-
definitely.
and
If
you
they
think that's
ramped it
sideshow
up
now,
as it goes.
Wait till you see the sequels. Like Freddy is a full-on carnival barker.
No,
as the
I've
movies go
seen
on.
a few of the sequels. I just didn't realize there were that many.
Yeah.
I argue that
cool.
I argue that it's a comedy.
Yeah?
It's not a
Yeah.
horror.
Could be.
Yeah, I think it's
Black
being
comedy. Black
misgenred.
comedy, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dark.
I think
Definitely dark.
You know what?
Kids
The
are getting killed.
You know what the sick thing is that Evil Dead's meant to be a bit of a black comedy, but that's more of a horror than.
Yeah, the first one. The second one is
Oh, it's
straight,
straight
up
up
comedy.
comedy.
That's
Like-
Three
Ugh.
Stooges.
Cabin in the Woods is scarier for me.
Really?
I was saying this, but I think it's so good. I love that film. It's really, really
Oh
funny.
yeah.
But like, there are moments where I'm like,
I mean, Cabin in the Woods didn't get me at all, but I loved it. That was like
oh, I
my
loved
favorite
it so
movie
much.
that year.
Freddy
No, I
is
just
a-
it's blades and knives. And
Yeah.
I like the premise. Is this like was this like the first? Do we know?
Oh yeah.
In terms of like the dream thing, the idea of like messing with dreams in cinema as a big plot device. Was this?
I mean,
I
there
can't
there
imagine it was
there's
the
a
first.
there were silent films and stuff that really played a lot with that. And you can see like Wes Craven is borrowing a lot of imagery
Yeah.
from old silent films, and he's borrowing from Nosferatu. There's some stuff he plays there with shadows and stuff. But overall, I would say this is definitely the first movie where it's like this killer will kill you in your dreams.
Yeah.
That's where he gets you.
Because I think there's definitely if like props always goes to the originator.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That they get that for doing it first. But then I would say like if you want that premise done better,
Yeah.
there's so many other things I would recommend. Paranoia Agent, the anime series, Paprika by the same guy.
I love Paprika.
To a certain extent, The Matrix does
Yeah.
that kind of thing better if you just swap out like
It's more
computer
sci-fi. It's
world.
not really horror.
Inception.
Inception.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
like,
Dying in your
yes.
dreams.
I would
Yeah.
find it very interesting to see some kind of Freddy Inception.
There's a
Style
mashup
thing.
right now on YouTube. Someone mashed
you
up
go.
Nightmare on Elm Street and Inception. The trailers. They put
I
them
Really?
mean, like
Yep.
an actual one though. I mean, because that's an interesting logic that you have to keep like layers and layers and layers and trying to get away from.
Well, there's a
But
Rick and
also-
Morty
You
episode
die
about
in
it.
your
Yeah,
dreams.
and
Well,
then
Scary
Because they were
Terry.
so-
Yeah.
yeah.
Rick and
Well,
Morty.
yeah, but that
Which
is
is probably
like they're saying
the
that
pinnacle
the
of that concept.
Yeah,
Wait,
they're saying
it.
that the
They did it.
pinnacle of the dreams always ends up in Scary Terry's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that again recently.
Rick and
it was great.
Morty. If you want to mash it, we also like your show.
All right. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Tune in 2 Mondays from now when we discuss Wes Craven's other horror movie that basically rejuvenated an entire slasher series, Scream. And if you want to check us out on iTunes, we're there. We're there on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/5secondfilms. And of course, you can catch all the videos here at youtube.com/bforenzy. All right. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Da, 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 da.